Well, hello there. Welcome. You know what? I really enjoyed the push version of this, the pull version of this, and I decided to just do it again. I had a few comments on Instagram, social media, just saying that it reminded them a little bit of kind of Alberto's Bulking to the Year 3000, and if anyone's watched that, that's kind of why I wanted to do this. Sometimes with vlogs they can get a bit too faffy and a bit too overly creative in the sense that all we're doing is lifting. There's not too much creativity, and there's some sort of like art in the fact that we're just going into the gym and just bullying ourselves to build muscle or even retain muscle. But anyway, welcome to legs. Now, this is my only leg day of the microcycle. I only have one leg day. Now, we do train legs in literature. So with the literature, we have twice a week frequency. By the way, I'm officially like 10 days out as of speaking to this. When this comes out, it's actually show day. So basically all I'm saying is I did some check-ins this morning. I'm sorry if I slur. I do not intend this. But anyway, we have actually just completed the session. So we train legs twice per week. Typically, it will be in the first pull session. Then we have legs, a proper leg day, which is this, and then also we have some leg training in the last push session, which you've already gone through. Now, the first movement of the day is going to be a leg press. Now, you'll notice that I'm not taking it really that close to failure, and it kind of gets to the point in a prep where you have to really, and essentially with your own training as well, really analyze risk versus reward. Like, I'm a week out of a show, week and a half out of a show. If I go to like true failure, number one, it's going to bury me. I'm going to put myself in a massive hole. I might have like some sort of edema. Typically when I go to like true failure, all out intensity, you just get kind of inflamed. That's kind of what happens. So I can't really afford for that to kind of be pushed into a peak week. So that's why I'm training with somewhat kind of an RAR approach here. Around 2 is where I like to kind of push things in this week. With some like isolation work, I will probably go close to failure. But definitely like legs does have a crossover, just more systemic fatigue does have a crossover to other muscle groups. Like for instance, if I go to a failure with like delts or like lat raises, I'm not going to get that much like edema from going to that. Whereas as if I go like balls to the wall with something like a leg extension or a leg press, and I'm like, oh, okay, right, yeah, this is noticeable like everywhere else, I'm going to start to hold water, which I don't want. We just don't want that data, because you could almost say, oh, we need a dig. But no, you've just kind of trained like a dick in the last session, essentially. So we start off with leg press. Now, this was hack squats for a while, but again, risk versus reward. It tends to kind of flare my lower back up a little bit, and Ollie's actually reported the same thing. So basically just switched, he's dieting too. We just switched it to a leg press, which if you actually look at a leg press versus a hack squat, the actual movement is fairly similar. Like essentially we're going into a knee flex. Did you see that dog, by the way? That's the new mascot of the gym. But yeah, essentially you're going into like knee flexion. The real difference is where the load is. So for example, like on a hack squat, the load is like here, compressing the spine. Now on a leg press, it's not doing that, although it is loading the spine. When you kind of go into that kind of bottom end of the range of motion, you are kind of somewhat taxing that spine or taxing the lumbar or erectors, but not really compressing the spine, which is what I don't want. So that's why we kind of just auto-regulate it and swap the movement out. So we had 2 sets of the leg press, that's in an 8 to 12 rep range, and now we have unilateral leg extensions. Typically I like programming unilateral work just from a balance side of things. Also, I tend to find that I can train a little bit closer to failure more accurately, if that makes sense. Like on that instance, I didn't train to failure there, but I can just train with a little bit higher intensity and just more accuracy. I can really kind of twist myself in a kind of a range, or twist myself in the whole motion to kind of get every orifice of my quad, whereas if I do it just together, it's kind of just flinging the weight up. So yeah, that's why we did that. We then moved on to, so that's in like a 10 to 20 rep range. We then moved on to the seated leg curl, which I really like the seated leg curl. And one thing with the seated leg curl, and you'll see where I'm kind of pushing myself against I'm pushing myself back, as it were. I'm just trying to be as braced as possible. If you don't have this at your gym, then you're just essentially going to be thrown forward, and that's why sometimes on a leg curl you might have like lumbar pain, and it's essentially your lumbar's doing this, so you're kind of putting yourself in a really weird position in terms of curling. And here I just wanted to kind of flag, I don't get like movements spot on all the time. I adjust, and it's just very easy for me to go, oh, I'm perfect, right? But essentially, like, if you feel a movement on the first set just being a bit off, you can change. And it's not like you don't have any stimulus, it's kind of my whole like just do it attitude. Just do it. If it's not right, obviously try and set up the machine as accurately as possible. But if you can't, then obviously adjust the next set. In this instance, I basically moved the pad. It was at kind of my Achilles, and I just moved the pad closer to my kind of knee, which means I'm stronger, which means less joint loading. So here I actually I think I did like 3 or 4 more reps just from that. Typically on the second set, you shouldn't necessarily see more reps. You should actually see less reps, especially if you've been training with a lot of intensity. Also, just an FYI, I did actually keep the shoes, as you can see. In a couple of vlogs ago, obviously I won the off-white lot, and I decided to keep them just because, you know, why not? They're a great kind of lifting shoe. They're very flat. You don't have to lift like the guy next to me who's wearing kind of barefoot in the peak of a pandemic. You can just wear shoes like a normal person. But yeah, so leg curl times 2. I'm also very conscious, by the way, and I picked up on this after, I'm never gonna film at this angle again, especially if a female is on an adductor machine. So if she's watching this, I'm sincerely sorry. I picked up on that. I will not do that again. It's very intrusive. But we go for 2 leg curl variation. So for seated leg curl, then we go to a lying leg curl variation. I can't do all of my leg volume. I would actually prefer to do it on the lying leg curl. Again, I'm just watching it from you'll see a common theme here with me. I'm trying to really protect my lumbar, just because I do have lumbar pain. I'm really trying to be accurate and with my volume, but also just be very aware of the risk that comes with certain movements. If I did all of my leg volume or my hamstring volume via this lying leg curl, my lumbar is going to be fucked, and I can't really do much else. So that's why we did 2 on the seated leg curl, and then we're going to do 1 here. I don't do RDLs. Again, same thing. They're really great for me though. That's the thing. They're really great, like from a stimulus standpoint, but just from a risk versus reward, I'm not going to be doing this for a while. Like, I'm not going to be doing this for very long if I continually try and do a movement that I love, but I know it's kind of putting myself at a really weird, not really weird, but a kind of a bad or a poor injury risk. I filmed that moving into the shop because it made my arms look vasty as hell. That's a pro tip, by the way. If you ever walk into a shop and you're in a sleeveless vest, you gotta have the basket on here, otherwise you look really small. And then you can essentially just put the basket here and then push your kind of arm to your lat, and it makes your arms look bigger. That's a pro tip. And one thing that I'm gonna kind of address right now as well. Like, I don't necessarily feel great in a vest right now. And I think that's like not a body confidence issue thing, but definitely like I'm aware that I'm like 50 pounds down really. And it's now getting to the point in prep where I'm feeling a little bit stringy, a little bit kind of like muscles look tired. That's just kind of what happens in a prep. It often takes like a refeed for the muscles and everything else like that to really look full, alive, etc. And it's kind of getting to the point now where I've been dieting for so long, and I've dieted for like 50 pounds really, it's kind of getting to that point when in the prep where I'm just like, ooh, I don't feel too great in a top, and I'm kind of almost, it's not body dysmorphia, but at the same time it's kind of like, ooh, like I might just put my top back on. But in any cases, so we did that's all the leg volume done, and that's my legs done. Again, my training volume for legs is really not that much. You saw the hamstrings there, I did 3 sets total, and then the back end of the week the front end of the week I do 2 sets, so 5 sets total, hamstrings done. And then I have quads, which I did 3 sets, and then I do 2 sets on the Saturday session, the push session, and that's 5 sets again. I'd actually grow on that as well. Like that'll be my growing volume in an off season. And again, like you don't necessarily need a fuck ton of volume. So yeah. Then we move on to arms, because arms, there's not really too much explanation for that one. Everyone needs big arms. Frequency for arms is at 3 times per week. That's kind of a really nice middle ground for me. Then we go with delts, and delts is I actually train delts every single day, except rest days, of course. So yeah, I pretty much have like upright row variations, and then I have lat raise variations here again, and then like I do rear delts as well. So yeah, that's pretty much every day. You'll see here that I'm kind of like pushing it like this as well. Essentially, it's just variation. So I have like a kettlebell where I'm kind of like this. I have like dumbbells where I'm like this. I have lat raises where I'm kind of coming up like this. So it's kind of like here. And essentially on this one, I'm just pushing it like this. So again, it's just different variations to hit the delt. That's essentially what bodybuilding is. It's just hitting muscle groups from multiple different angles, and hitting them with different variations. It's the same with like bicep training, chest training, back training, everything. And this is how we're looking at, again, 10 days out. This is what I say when I look fairly tired, look fairly flat. My physique just needs to come alive a little bit more. I need a fucking tan because I'm white as fuck. And the tan actually came today, so yeah, it will be interesting to see what that looks like. But I'm fucking excited, man. I'm so excited to step on stage and just get the first one out of the way. Then we have a week break. Then we have another peak week, so we pretty much have peak week, break, peak week, and I'll run you through that. But yeah, very happy with my back again this year. I think I've said this in the pool session that I'm just incredibly happy with that. It's just one area of my back, or one area of my physique that I've always hated. It's kind of somewhat decent now. So, and the ab shot as well. Considering I haven't really trained abs directly in over 2 years, it's seemingly okay. But I'm gonna go and lie down, to be honest, because I'm feeling a bit tired. I've still got some steps to do. Got like 7,000 steps to do. But anyway, hope you're well. Again, I really enjoy doing this. So if you like it, then obviously like it. Obviously share it to a friend, and obviously subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And we're heading to Vasco World, in case you didn't know. Peace, love, I'll see you in the next video.